So you can catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. What you know about classic music?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review Series, and I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm here with...
Chris.
And today's Retro, Chris wasn't even supposed to be here. Today was supposed to be WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. That was the next Retro we had scheduled. I don't know when you're going to see this. I'm probably going to be in Pennsylvania by the time, you see this. But let's just say we don't want to get to the reason why the retro pick was changed until we get to that match. But let's just say, if you're in...
I think it's probably best that we just do it right away. Instead
Okay.
of waiting.
Yeah, so...
I think we would rather do this retro on happier times.
Yeah.
But with the recent passing as of yesterday night or yesterday morning of Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt, passing away at the age of 36, we thought it would be best to do a more positive review for him.
Yeah.
As he won the WWE Championship in this match, I figured it would be best that we remember him in a positive light, and I think that was his first WWE Championship win, and it came on such a really good show. So, yeah,
I agree with that, because let's also just kind of talk about like what happened behind the scenes, just because it's all going to be when you see this retro and everything like that. So you're going to see Payback 2017 retro get uploaded, and we legit. There's going to be a disclaimer anyways, but we'll just talk about it now. We recorded that retro, probably, I think we talked about this off camera, but I think he literally died while we were recording that retro, but it wasn't even reported or anything like that he even passed. So no one even knew that he passed by that point. So, because of this, the variety of that retro with, it being the House of Horrors match, we said a lot of things that we didn't really bury Bray Wyatt or anything like that, but we said a lot of things that a lot of people would have said if he had been alive still, anyways, and stuff. The typical stuff about his booking and all that type of stuff. So again, we wanted to do a more positive retro to kind of end the career and life of Bray Wyatt. And obviously, we're gonna do other retros involving him, and I think if we had the proper time, because I only had time to watch a 3-hour window. I think you would have picked probably the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania 36, but because that's a 2-night Mania, there's no time. Yeah. I didn't have enough time to watch that, and I don't think you probably would have picked SummerSlam 2019 when he debuted with The Fiend, but I think that's a 4.5 hour show. We probably could have squeezed that in, but the retro itself would be too long, so.
Something we could do at a later time.
Yeah. We figured, we would pick a happier time, and I think this is the happy time. He wins the WWE Championship on this show, and we will say, even though his booking wasn't the best around this time, this is kind of when he had a little bit of career resurgence, pretty much, because you do forget that Randy Orton Bray Wyatt feud really wasn't all that bad around this time. It didn't really jump the shark yet or anything like that. It was kind of slow moving plots. It doesn't seem that way. I think when you cover the feud after the fact, after you've seen how they built up the Mania program, the Mania match itself, and the House of Horrors match, it seemed like a bad feud. But if you had just taken all that stuff out and just gone the simpler route type of thing. It's actually not that bad of a feud. And this is kind of a good show to pick, too, because in a way it's a tribute to both Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, because Luke Harper has a breakout performance on this show also. So it's like...
Yeah. I saw the card when I picked it, and I was like, oh, it could be a tribute to both of them.
Yeah, because we didn't do like a tribute to Luke Harper, before he passed and anything like that, because the channel was pretty much inactive and all that type of stuff. So that's why we're kind of doing this as like a retro. Because I feel like today we shouldn't be, like, we could have still done WCW Bash at the Beach, but I feel like today is not really the day to be like negative about wrestling today. I feel like today's just
today's to be popular and positive and remembering a great man and a great husband and a great father.
Yeah.
And lastly, the least important thing, a great wrestler.
Yeah.
And the family man was far more important. The Wyndham Rotunda was far more important than his in-ring career.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I can't promise we won't rant during this retro, because it wouldn't be the channel if we didn't rant, but, we're going to try to... I will say this, I think just for the sake of it, we're just going to say this, when we get to the point where we win the championship, we know where it leads to. We're not going to focus on that this time, because I feel like we'll get negative.
All happy, all positive. That's what this is going to be.
We're going to try...
You won the fucking championship, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah. If you want to know where it leads to, just go watch the Payback 2017 retro, because we kind of said it all there. Just remember the fact we recorded that retro before we knew that... before anyone knew that he passed away, so that way, you can kind of go into it with the negative feelings and all that type of stuff. But yeah, let's just get right into the show. The state of wrestling at this time was, pretty well. WWE was on the road to WrestleMania. It was still pretty good. I think Raw was kind of the show to really struggle with. If you remember, Raw wasn't all that particularly good, but SmackDown, this is like that era after the draft where SmackDown 2016 was like other than NXT and stuff, was like the best show of the week. I believe it's like that 2016. I would say after SummerSlam up until maybe like the Superstar Shakeup, pretty much was when SmackDown was at like its highest type of thing.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was doing very well. We had great storylines. They were pushing new characters and all that type of stuff. And I always noticed this happens the past couple of times before they did the draft. If you remember, SmackDown, it always looked like got the shit out of the stick, but somehow they would like book their way out of it like perfectly type of thing. Like they would use the talent that they have, like, which is just insane that happened. NXT was still doing very well. I think this is kind of around that period where NXT is still popular, but it goes into like that lull period until DIY break up and they go on to have the feud of the year. That all the indie talent that Triple H would go on to sign would would go on to sign with WWE and stuff like that. But it's still relatively doing very well. I think too because the main roster kind of poached all the big stars that they had, but they because of the shakeup and everything like that, the draft. So New Japan was doing very, very well. It finally got the subscriptions up for New Japan World, and it was getting that United States exposure and all that type of stuff. This is right after the Kenny Omega Okada match, that critically acclaimed match, which got New Japan really noticed again, and it's about to get even better after that. ROH is doing really well at this time. It's not doing quite great yet. I would say that comes in June when it gets really exposure, but, Bullet Club invading and all that stuff, ROH was doing fairly well. AAA was doing fairly well in Mexico, but, it didn't really have that exposure in America and all that type of stuff, so it's just kind of existing. I think this is. We will say this. I think this is that. I think this is that era. We've talked about this before, where Lucha Underground starts to kind of shit the bed a little bit. I think the product itself is still good. This is before they have like that bad season that everybody hates. But this is kind of like where that, all that contract stuff was coming out, where they wouldn't let people leave and all that type of stuff. We've gone into that before, so we don't need to go into that again. And Impact is not really doing all that well. I think this is right before they merge with GFW, but this is still kind of like not the best time to be an Impact fan type of thing. So that's kind of the state of wrestling right there. So let's just get right into this show. This was when the brand split was going on, so the people that were on Raw stayed on Raw, and the people that were on SmackDown, for the most part, stayed on SmackDown, because WWE actually stuck to the brand split back then, They can't do that anymore, though. They forgot how. And this is at the time where the brands were had their own pay-per-views, so SmackDown had Elimination Chamber. The date of this show was February 12th, 2017. It took place in Phoenix, Arizona, and the venue was the Talking Stick Resort Arena, which is now the Footprint Center. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. So, the attendance for this show was 11,000 people in attendance. There was no buy rate, obviously, because this was the network, so they weren't really doing pay-per-views in the traditional sense anymore. They pretty much had died out by this point. And yeah, we're just gonna go right into the show. We had the kickoff. We had the panel of Renee Young, Booker T, Sam Roberts, and Carmella. Yeah, panel wasn't very good. Renee Young tried her best, and Booker T, he was Booker T. I think you know how we feel about that, using small quantities. Sam Roberts said that his wife was like overdue pregnant and all that type of stuff. Like she was and he chose to come to Elimination Chamber instead of staying at home with his wife. What a shitty husband he is. So he just mentioned it right away on the air too. Like, yep, I'm here. Basically, I traveled here while my wife's at home, pregnant. Like she legitimately could have had a kid at any moment. He's just fucking there at fucking Elimination Chamber. So, and you can kind of see that he's balding a little bit here. I think this is around that time he starts kind of going bald. Carmella though was really bad on the panel. This was like when she was in her heel gimmick. So anytime she gets asked a question, she's too busy. Booking massages, trying to get James Ellsworth, because this is around the time where they had that going on. Get a coffee or something. It's anytime she basically wants to be anywhere else but on this panel. So it's like it's very cringy at times. She cuts people off too, like when Sam Roberts is saying something, he gets cut off. Booker T gets cut off at one point. He was fucking pissed. Like, he was not happy. Like, it was kind of funny. But you must have to be really bad where if you're on the fucking panel and you're worse than Booker T, then that means you're not doing a good fucking job. So
yes.
So there you go. The commentary team for this show was Tom Phillips, JBL, Mauro Ranallo, and David Otunga. If you remember, they switched to a 4-man booth on SmackDown for unknown reasons. And how this worked was, I think Tom Phillips was, I think I've mentioned this before, he's just there to get over the storylines and all that type of stuff. And anytime the match happens, Mauro Ranallo does like the play-by-play. It's a really odd choice, by the way. It really, it really didn't make any sense. Like, Tom Phillips was basically there for no reason and all that type of stuff.
I could have done with 10 more people at the commentary table.
Yeah. Mauro Ranallo was really carrying the commentary team at this time because David Otunga, as you remember, didn't really say all that much. It
was a really, they could have done without a 4-person booth.
Yeah, they could have done. And then JBL, he was decent on commentary, but him and Mauro Ranallo didn't really have the chemistry. I think we said this at the time too, but now we know why they didn't really have the chemistry because you'll see it on this show. There's a couple of times where JBL takes a few jabs at Mauro Ranallo. I'm like, oop, we know where that's coming from now. So, this is actually Mauro Ranallo's last pay-per-view that he calls on the main roster, actually. If you remember, I think it's shortly after this, he, is off commentary pretty much. I think was it the bipolar or the depression? I think one of those kicked in. And then, it was like right before he was in Call Mania, and I think he left the company for a period of time. And then obviously he's brought back later on, and he's just mainly in NXT for the rest of his commentary career in WWE. Really sad. You could kind of see on this show that he was kind of off during this show. I think because of the JBL stuff going on, and you could just tell something wasn't right because he was pretty into it, but you could just definitely tell he wasn't like the typical Mauro Ranallo when he was into stuff. Like, you could definitely tell something was off about Mauro Ranallo on this show. I think we're not just saying this now, by the way. I think when we reviewed the show in real time, we talked about it even at the time. Like, something just didn't seem right with Mauro Ranallo on this show. He just didn't seem as into it and all that type of stuff. I think at first we were thinking because, he's been on the main roster now so much, I think we're just used to him now, but then we found out there was just some stuff he was dealing with outside of that. And I guess, I'm going to guess too, there was points, because if you remember on main roster Mauro Ranallo, there was probably points where Vince is probably screaming in his ear, because there's a point where he just doesn't even say anything on this show. Like, you could definitely tell. And when he doesn't talk, by the way, the commentary struggles because it's just silence. David Otunga doesn't say anything, and JBL doesn't say anything. So, not a very. This commentary team just really didn't work. I think even at the time when it was made, we didn't really understand it at the time. It is what it is, I guess. But anyhow, how did you feel about the commentary team overall? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
It's a cluster.
Yeah. Then we had then James Ellsworth invades the panel, and Booker T was making fun of the way he looked because, as you know, he looked weird. James Ellsworth is bragging about the fact that he's hooked up with the hottest girl on the roster and all that type of stuff. And he reveals to Carmella that he bought them tickets. He bought them skybox tickets to Elimination Chamber. And Carmella's happy about this, and they just take off. Carmella just leaves and insults everybody and everything like that. So this becomes a running gag throughout the show. It was kind of funny. The fucking dude could have just he didn't even need to buy fucking tickets. He could have he works for the company. He has a contract. He could have just shown up and just watched the matches, but it's hilarious to think that he just fucking bought tickets to Elimination Chamber. Skybox tickets. What did you think of this segment overall? I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was great that he had to pay for tickets.
He fucking worked there. Like, yeah.
Really useless as shit.
And then Becky Lynch gets interviewed. They did the social media lounge, which this was done by Dasha Fluentes. Becky Lynch talks about how she's happy to be on SmackDown. She gets interviewed about whether or not, because she's facing Mickie James on this show, so she gets asked whether she's been watching past Mickie James matches to help get her prepared for this show, and she said that she has been because you have to watch the past to really prepare for them, really study them and all that type of stuff. She gets asked what she'd want to team up with from the past or present. She picks Shawn Michaels because he calls himself the Heartbreak Kid, and she could be the Armbreak Kid. So that was not a good line right there. And then she talks about, and then she talks about how she's had a memorable experience on SmackDown, and she wants to achieve more on SmackDown and all that type of stuff. So decent interview by Becky Lynch. This is she drops the line that she's straight fire, which ended up becoming her gimmick for a while there. So there you go. And this is that Becky Lynch, by the way, that had like the Back to the Future, like eye goggles on for no reason and all that type of stuff. It was really weird. Like this is
was weird.
This was because I don't think she had that in NXT, right? She just had it like on the main roster for no reason. So
think that she on the main in NXT.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there, but this was a decent interview by Becky Lynch, but it's kind of a struggle to watch pre-man Becky Lynch because before that, like, it was just kind of a struggle. What did you think of this, though?
Yeah, a little bit of a struggle, but it's cringe because she was like doing those like weird fucking promos where she'd also like mention shit like in the room and like stuff. It was just weird.
Yeah, but it was weird stuff. Then JBL does his entrance, and the reason I bring this up is because they come back from the panel, and the commentators have done their entrances as they typically do. Booker T's fucking laughing because he brings up the fact that JBL tripped during his entrance, and Booker T asked the people in the truck to show the footage of it, and they actually showed the footage as like a rare Booker T. No, not Booker T. JBL. He does like this. What's that dance that he's called? He does like the fucking dance that he typically does when he comes out, and he fucking tripped, and he had to like catch himself on like the camera guy and all that type of stuff, and they were just basically ribbing JBL here. I thought it was hilarious. Did you remember this happening? Because this did happen.
Yeah,
like it was hilarious. Yeah. Like
it was really really funny. I love it.
And then we had the only match that happened during the kickoff. It was Kurt Hawkins versus Mojo Rawley. During this, Tom Phillips was ragging on JBL for tripping during his entrance. He was even saying, they were breaking down the pay-per-view, and he was like, maybe Kurt Hawkins would actually get to the ring and not trip. And JBL was just like, I hate you, Tom. He told him he hated him. So, yeah, it was funny.
I hate him now.
Well, yeah, he ends up having to work with them for the rest of his commentary run, pretty much. So, if you remember, this was the face the facts gimmick of Kurt Hawkins too, and not only that, remember this would be like when during his entrance he would cut a promo like during his entrance where he'd be like, like I think he went, Arizona, get ready to see Kurt Hawkins. He's gonna whip the floor. He's gonna wipe the floor with Mojo Rawley, a guy that couldn't even make it to the NFL and all that type of stuff. Like it'd be so weird his introductions and all that type of stuff. Like, and it goes on the whole entrance too. Like,
yeah. It's great. I love it.
I missed that. But the reason for this match is they got into a Twitter exchange, and which it was called Twitter at the time, so we can say that. And Kurt Hawkins was throwing shade at Mojo Rawley because he threw shade at Gronk because he mentioned that I think this was one of the years the Patriots won the Super Bowl, and he mentioned that Gronk has all these Super Bowl wins, but he never makes it to the Super Bowl. So Mojo Rawley responded, "Well, how about you come face me?" And because Gronk can't do anything about it, type of thing. So it was kind of a shitty reason to have a match, but it happened.
That's good. And we need shit reasons to have matches.
The match starts. Mojo Rawley dominates the beginning portions of the matchup, and then eventually Kurt Hawkins gets the advantage. He throws him into the apron, and then he dominates the matchup for a bit. Eventually, Mojo Rawley mounts a comeback. They had a fucking commercial break, by the way, of doing a fucking kickoff match. Like, the fuck? What was that? What's the point of that?
They used to do that all the time on the network. They used to have a match and then cut to a commercial break mid-match. They haven't done it at all on Peacock.
Yeah.
But they used to do it all the fucking time on the network. They used to go to a commercial break all the fucking time.
Yeah. And yeah, Mojo Rawley's making his comeback. Eventually, Hawkins thumbs Rawley in the eye, and he hits a flatliner onto him, but Rawley kicks out of that. And then eventually he goes for some type of move out of the corner, but Mojo Rawley pushes him into the corner, and he hits a forearm into the corner, followed by like some type of like flapjack type move where he picks him up over his shoulders and like drops him to the floor. And Mojo Rawley wins the match. And it was just a typical kickoff match. I give this like 2 stars. It really wasn't anything special. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I didn't think it was anything special. It was okay.
Yeah, so there you go. We've done the career retrospectives on both these guys before, so we don't need to do it again. So there you go. Then we had the show. The same people were on commentary. And we had the intro. The intro was very good. They talked about how the Elimination Chamber was a beautiful disaster. And they talk about how beauty is seen in the eyes of beholders, but sometimes it can turn into disasters, and that's what the Elimination Chamber was. So there you go. we had the first match on the show. It was Becky Lynch versus Mickie James. The reason for this match was because Becky Lynch had kept trying to win the SmackDown Women's Championship back on several different occasions, but a luchador named La Luchadora kept interfering in the matches and costing her the championship matches. And eventually, during a cage match, she found the Unmasked her, and it was revealed to be Mickie James. Wasn't it always not Mickie James, though? It was someone else originally, and then they decided it was going to be Mickie James type of thing? Like, it wasn't always Mickie James?
Yeah, I think it was Gina Purrazzo.
Okay.
That's who it was supposed to be.
And then I don't know what happened. I guess it just didn't happen that way. So, and then, the match continues. The match starts. Well, the feud continues anyways. Mickie James said that she did this because she thought that Becky Lynch didn't show any respect to the veterans of the business and all that type of stuff. And she said that she's going to teach Becky Lynch a thing or two about this. And, this is when they started that tag team alliance with her and Alexa Bliss that randomly ends in a few weeks and then randomly picks back up again in like a year or so. So, yeah, really weird stuff there. Decent reason for a match. If you think about it, it's actually the fucking Trish Stratus feud, except good, because Mickie knows how to fucking be a heel, apparently, and fucking Trish just can't be a heel anymore. This feud probably would have been better if Becky Lynch was in the man gimmick, and Mickie James obviously had just stayed this way and all that type of stuff. Like, this probably would have been a better feud if they had done this like nowadays and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, this was good stuff. This was Mickie James' first one-on-one match on a premium live event, I think, since like 2010. So there you go. And yeah, the match starts, and it's very noticeable. The commentators have to like pretend. They keep saying the whole match that Mickie James hadn't been in the ring in like years, like 7 years and all that type of stuff. They try to make it seem like Mickie James hadn't wrestled in a few years. And it's that typical thing that WWE love to do where if you didn't wrestle for the fucking company, it's like you didn't even wrestle. So they didn't mention outside stuff and all that.
Everything.
Because obviously she had wrestled like an Impact and all that type of stuff. Not only that...
Nope, she didn't wrestle the last time when she left WWE.
Not only that, though, if you forget, 2 months prior to this, she wrestled actually 3 months prior to this, she wrestled at NXT TakeOver in WWE, so it's not like she's been out of action for all this time. So it's like...
Disappeared.
Yeah.
And then emerged from a cave.
So then JBL, eventually they started saying that so often. JBL has to step in on commentary at one point and just be like, well, she's wrestled outside the company, but she hasn't worked the WWE schedule and all that type of stuff. Like, that's how much they keep saying that and all that type of stuff. But yeah, we had the match. Becky Lynch dominates the beginning portions of this matchup. She destroys Mickie James. She throws her into the barricade, throws her into the steps. Eventually, Mickie James catches her with a mule kick coming into the ring, and she targets the arm of Becky Lynch. She really goes after it. Eventually, Mickie James hits a really good Hurricanrana from the top turnbuckle. And she hits a really good suplex onto Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch kicks out of it. Eventually, Becky Lynch mounts a comeback. She hits a really good senton onto Mickie James. And then she hits a suicide dive on the outside. She goes for the disarmer, but Mickie James counters it. Mickie James hits the Mick kick, but Becky Lynch rolls out of the ring, so Mickie James has to go back and get her and all that type of stuff. And then eventually... the finish comes when Mickie James and her exchange roll-ups, and Becky Lynch finally hits a roll-up and gets the pin on Mickie James. And Becky Lynch wins. I thought this made a whole lot of sense, just because, Becky Lynch needed a big win because she had lost a lot of momentum, losing so many SmackDown Women's title matches and all that type of stuff. And there was no reason for Mickie James to get a win. They kind of did book themselves into the corner, but this is with the benefit of hindsight. I think it probably benefited long-term to have Becky Lynch win over Mickie James. And plus, they did it in a way where they could have continued the feud that they didn't even end up continuing. So, there you go. But I give the match 3 stars. I thought it was good stuff. What did you think?
I thought the same thing. I thought this match was good. It didn't really hurt Mickie at all. But yeah, I liked it.
What's your style, Aiden?
I give it 3 stars. It was a really good match. Again, these matches were really bad.
Yeah. And then Carmella and James Ellsworth get interviewed, and Carmella pretty much just says that she doesn't really care about what's going on. And then, James Ellsworth just pretty much agrees with what she said. So that was it. So
What a puppy.
yeah. Then we had a 2-on-1 handicap match. Apollo Crews and Kalisto versus Dolph Ziggler.
I remember this. It was yesterday.
So do you want to break down why this was happening? Because it's fucking weird.
So, in the weeks leading up to the Go Home show or whatever it was, to SmackDown, Dolph Ziggler was getting his ass kicked by Baron Corbin like every week, and that was leading to an eventual heel turn. And the crowd was starting to turn on Ziggler. His show-off character, the spunky babyface that sold really well and sold good merch, was starting to run its course, and people were starting to turn on him.
Yep.
So they, even though he was still getting a really good reaction, they decided to turn him heel. And they do. And it leads to, because the week prior, he super kicks fucking Kalisto, who came out to save him from Baron Corbin. And he screams, "I never needed you." And he fucking leaves. And that cements the heel turn. And the next week, something happens with Apollo Crews. Like, he comes out to make the save or whatever. And that sets up the handicap match between Apollo and Kalisto versus Dolph Ziggler. And you know what happens? You know what fucking happens? The faces get booed and the heel got cheered. Wow. What a great time. I remember like clear as day watching this show and going, "Oh, now you're going to cheer Dolph Ziggler. You had months to do this, and now you want to cheer him." It's like, what the fuck?
I mean,
they cheered him. They booed him so much to the point where they had to turn him heel because his gimmick was kind of getting stale. And then the second that he comes out in the fucking handicap match, he came out second, and he came out first, and he got a thunderous reaction. I was like, "Oh great, now you want to fucking cheer him." And then the faces came out, and they got a mixed reaction.
you can't even blame the fans, really, though, because they booked a fucking heel to be in a handicap match. That's not what you don't book a fucking heel to be in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Like,
The resilient heel, Dolph Ziggler.
it's just like, I remember too, like, Dolph Ziggler, like, even went to, like, Daniel Bryan backstage, and he's like, "I can beat both of these guys," and all that type of stuff. And Daniel Bryan's just like, "Okay." You think he's got a triple threat match is going to happen or something like that, because that would make sense. The whole legacy thing all over again. But no, Daniel Bryan's just like, "You're going to face both these guys in a handicap match." And then Ziggler's complaining that he's in a handicap match, but it's like, yeah, he's a fucking heel. Like, and then, this isn't even what happens. Apollo Crews comes out first, and then Kalisto comes out, and Ziggler ambushes Kalisto and throws him into, like, the staging area, and Apollo Crews chases up after him. And it's so fucking weird. The fucking babyface, like, commentary team have to fucking defend this. Like, they have to be like, JBL has to be like, "Well, why would he want to be in a 2-on-1 handicap match? Because why the fuck would you be?" Like,
No, I wanted to be in a handicap match. That was my choice.
That's and then we have the match. You think it's just gonna be a 1-on-1 match? It just ends up being a 1-on-1 match for a while between Apollo Crews and Dolph Ziggler. And it's pretty okay. Crews dominates early. He bounces Ziggler's head off the announcer's table, and he beats him up. And then eventually Ziggler hits a Hangman's neckbreaker across the ropes, and he dominates the match for a bit. Crews gets a little bit of a comeback, and then Ziggler shuts it down with another neckbreaker. And then Kalisto comes back out, the valiant babyface. Eventually, Crews tags him in. He does hit a good reverse Rana on Ziggler. And then, he does a comeback. He hits an Enziguri. Crews gets a blind tag from behind. And Crews hits the toss powerbomb, And yeah, Apollo Crews and Kalisto fucking win because it's 2-1 fucking 1. Obviously that was gonna fucking happen. During the predictions, by the way, too, fucking Booker T was even saying this. Like, it's 2-1. That's how they're gonna fucking win. Like, and then, the baby faces celebrate like they just, like, won the world championship and all that type of stuff. And then Ziggler takes out Kalisto. He beats up... And Kalisto, like, dies at this point. He's fucking gone. Like, I don't know what the hell happens to him. But then...
You fuck off. That's what he did.
Yeah. And then Ziggler attacks Crews. And he puts his leg... he grabs a chair, he puts it in between his legs and all that type of stuff. Or puts it on his legs, I don't even know. And then he stomps on the chair twice, and they do an injury angle with Apollo Crews and all that type of stuff. Well, you know, typically that's a thing you do, by the way, when someone's going to be out with an injury for like a good few months. I think Crews was back like the fucking next 2 weeks, so it didn't even matter. This match was fucking awful. This is like, I'm giving this a fucking star and a half. This was fucking terrible way to book this. It's just, it didn't even make any sense, and it hurt Dolph Ziggler. No one benefited from this. It hurt Dolph Ziggler because he fucking lost, and the babyfaces got their ass kicked, and nothing comes from this. They just do a fucking random ass match on SmackDown, and then they're just all thrown into the fucking Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and they never interact with each other or anything like that. So, what did you think of this style rating wise? I thought this was awful.
I thought even at the time I thought it was terrible. I give it like a star and a half, star and a quarter star. I put it fuck it. I don't even fucking. This match sucked. The great resilient babyface Dolph Ziggler won.
No, he didn't even win. Like,
he should have won.
Yeah.
The great resilient babyface.
Yep.
In the 2-on-1 handicap match in Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, it's just
Who came out to a humongous reaction, way more than what Kalisto and Apollo Crews got.
Yeah, this is at that time too when Kalisto and Apollo Crews, no one could even care less about them. Like, they were just fucking like just in catering pretty much at this time and all that type of stuff. So, then we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Turmoil match. The reason for this is American Alpha wanted to issue an open challenge for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships on SmackDown, and all the teams came out to accept, but because there was so much commotion going on, Daniel Bryan put him in a tag team turmoil match. And to build this up, they had like a big 12-man tag team match where the Ascension got like a big win randomly. So they were kind of like the big heels of the match and all that type of stuff. Basically, every tag team was in this match that was on SmackDown. That was like not injured or anything like that. It starts with Beauty and the Man Beast, Heath Slater and Rhino versus Breezango. And yeah, this was good stuff. Tom Phillips was ragging on JBL because he was asking him if he's ever received a fashion ticket from the fashion police, because this is at the time when they started kind of doing that gimmick. And JBL even said to Tom, he's like, "Are you supposed to be quiet while this is happening?" Because it was a reference to the fact that he's not supposed to talk during the matches and all that type of stuff. JBL then said that he knew a good judge to get that fashion ticket. Pretty much not a thing anymore, so that's good. I guess that ticket doesn't count then. This was this part was decent stuff. Breezango get the heat on Heath Slater for a little bit, and then eventually Rhino gets the hot tag, and then at one point Slater gets tagged back in, and they beat him up, and Slater gets a blind tag, and Rhino just looks, he gets this evil smile on his face, and then he just lays out, I think it's Tyler Breeze with a gore, and he pins Tyler Breeze. And then the Vaudevillains come out next. They attack Rhino. They beat him up, and Slater does a big dive outside the ring, and they were able to get the heat for a little bit, and then eventually Rhino gores Simon Gosh, and Aiden English gets hit with an implant DDT on Slater, and the Vaudevillains get eliminated. Then it's the Usos. The Usos dominate. They win with the splash. This is when the Usos had just started their heel gimmick too, by the way. They had let's just say they looked like they were like on the streets type of thing. They want this was like early stage Usos as like heels and all that type of stuff. I mean, I guess they look that way now, but it was like really weird type of thing. And then it's American Alpha, and there was some history here because there was history of Beauty and the Man Beast and the Usos too, because they fought for the first SmackDown Tag Team Championship in the finals and everything. And obviously there was history with American Alpha because that's what the Usos attacked the turn here, and they had taken out Chad Gable. And American Alpha were the champions, so they came out, and they had like a nice little match right here. The Usos dominate them for a little bit, and then eventually they go for the Jason Jordan has one of the Usos up, and we don't know which Usos which because they still very much look like twins at this point. And the tease like they're gonna do like the bulldog spot type of thing, but then eventually one of the Usos turned it into a roll up, and then the other and then Chad Gable reverses that into a roll up of his own, and Chad Gable eliminates the Usos. I liked that they protected the Usos because obviously that was setting up a future SmackDown tag title match and everything like that. And then afterwards, the Usos attack American Alpha. They beat the crap out of them. They lay him out, Jason Jordan with the splash. And the last team to come in is the Ascension. Connor bumps into one of the Usos, showing that they didn't really appreciate. And Jason Jordan's laid out. They could easily just pin Jason Jordan right there and win the championships. But that's not the case. They hit the Fallen Man on Jason Jordan, and Chad Gable's able to get in at the last second to break it up. And the match goes on for a little bit. The Ascension dominate, and then eventually they quickly hit Grand Amplitude on Victor for the win. I did like how quick it was too. It was very quick. Like they had the Lord Connor on the outside, and it was a really good elimination. And that was the SmackDown Tag Team Turmoil match. I like this overall. I give it like 3 stars. It was a decent little match here. I would have booked this match a little differently. Like, it didn't really make sense that American Alpha said they wanted to face all the tag teams, but yet they come out like next to last in the freaking Turmoil match. Like, they should have come out first. I thought that would have made a lot more sense. I liked how it got over the Usos feud. That was fine, but realistically, what should have happened is this should have been the time where the Revival came up from NXT, and they should have been like the last team after American Alpha was won out, and that should have been the SmackDown Tag Title match at WrestleMania. Because it would have been awesome, but overall, I thought what they did was good enough. I just would have changed it. And again, the Ascension were dumb heels here. That didn't really make sense. So I give it 3 stars because it was still good enough to make it 3 stars. But what did you think of this match overall?
Yeah, I give it 3 stars too. It was a very good Turmoil match. What great babyface champions to come in next to last.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They wanted to beat every one of the teams except for they come in next to last.
I know, yeah. It's really
what a great tag team. We want to beat all the tag teams except for we're going to come in next to last.
Yeah. So. They tried to make it seem like it was luck of the drawing type of thing, but it's like you should if you want to beat all the tag teams, why wouldn't you have them come out first? Like, that didn't really make sense. Like,
exactly. But yeah, it was this match was really good. This is like you said, like this is the beginning of the Uso Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Gimmick at the very beginning. Because don't they eventually within the next like month or so or whatever, they take out Chad Gable or Jason Jordan. They take out one of them with a chair.
Yeah.
I think with the Tequila Sunrise type move that they would do.
Yep, and then Yeah, they won the SmackDown tag titles a few weeks later for the first time. So, yeah, this is when the Usos. This is up until probably the stuff with the Bloodline and stuff. This was probably the Usos' best run, I would say, as a tag team. Probably was this stretch in 2017 up until probably maybe 2019. Maybe
Yeah, they went, and then they went babyface with this gimmick, and it worked. But yeah, like they flip flopped around a bit.
yeah.
With this gimmick.
And then I think is it Jimmy? He got the DOI, so the Usos were out of action like throughout most of 2019. And then I think Jimmy got injured in 2020, so the Usos were MIA up until the Bloodline pretty much formed and everything like that. So yeah, so we've done career retrospectives for about everybody in this match. The only thing new we could say about the Usos is they're not at this moment. They're no longer a tag team. I know they're trying to make it seem like they are a tag team, but let's be real, they're not really a tag team anymore as of right now. So, but
they've who knows? But they've been kicked in the face, so to speak.
So, next match was Nikki Bella versus Natalya. This feud was actually really good. At Survivor Series, Nikki Bella was attacked by a mystery attacker, so she wasn't able to be on the Survivor Series team, and Natalya ended up taking her place, and I think we called it on the show at the time that we knew 1,000% it was going to be Natalya that was the mystery attacker. It was very obvious it was Natalya. And Carmella pointed out the fact that it was Natalya, and, weeks Natalya continued to deny it. It looked like Natalya was going to go babyface. And then at one point she gets upset that Carmella snitches on her. And basically that's the big reveal. Natalya reveals that it was her. She said that she did this because she was sick and tired of Nikki Bella, getting all these perks because of her looks and everything like that, and talks about how she gets these perks because of her connections with, being the sister-in-law of the SmackDown general manager Daniel Bryan and dating John Cena at the time. This is like when they were first starting to reference the fact that John Cena and Nikki Bella were an item. I should say in the storylines, because obviously Total Divas was a thing, so obviously they would reference it there, but they would never talk about it, though, like on the main programming or anything like that. It's really fucking weird, though, because then they would mention it in her storylines, but then when it was Cena's storylines, they never brought it up until it was necessary, so it was really weird.
Yeah.
So,
Fucker, that's why.
Yeah. And Nikki Bella said that she didn't get these accolades because of that. She got it because of her drive and determination and all that type of stuff. And she talked about how Natalya, became really cold and everything like that. So it led to various brawls and matches getting stopped and everything like that. So it was a good feud because you actually believe that they were friends backstage and all that type of stuff. It would help, by the way, if you remember, I think this was around that time, every fucking storyline, someone was friends with somebody, though. Like, remember that was the big thing of the Cruiserweight division at the time. Somebody was friends with somebody in the Cruiserweight division.
Everyone in the Cruiserweight division were friends. That's how the feud was set up. Everyone was friends. And then they would like have a tag match or whatever, and then suddenly they weren't friends anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I think at one point I called it the Friends division.
You did. And that the same thing was kind of going on here. I think you even called it out. Like, I guess everyone's just friends in WWE now, and all of a sudden and all that type of stuff. So, we had the match. It's a fight in the beginning. Nikki Bella's trying to prove that she can out-wrestle Natalya. I think we do one thing we should say, we call it out. The roles were really kind of off here a little bit. Because everything Natalya said was 100% right. And everything that they tried to make Nikki Bella the babyface. To be honest, kind of looking back, it probably is still that way, but Nikki Bella really didn't need to go heel anyways because she had done the heel thing for a while and all that type of stuff. And Natalya was right, but she was just kind of being like, being a bitch about it pretty much because, she's a heel. That's what heels do and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, they lock up. Natalya out wrestles Nikki Bella throughout the beginning portions of it, but then eventually Nikki Bella would make comeback. They told a really good story that Nikki Bella worked on her craft. She did a lot of moves that she hadn't done before. Like she did a flying clothesline from the apron to the outside. Eventually, Natalya gets the advantage. She sends Nikki Bella back first into the written post. And during this match, Mauro Ranallo was trying to hype up the Elimination Chamber, and he accidentally called it the Hell in a Cell, so Tom Phillips had to correct him and all that type of stuff. And you could tell he gets fucking pissed that he kept doing it, too. He's like, fuck, it's the, it's, like, you actually see him get pissed about it on commentary, because it doesn't cut to, like, them, but you can, like, see Mauro Ranallo get pissed about it when he accidentally calls it the Hell in a Cell. Yeah. There is points, I think I didn't mention this. Like I said, JBL takes jabs at Mauro Ranallo, and you can definitely tell when Mauro Ranallo's not a fan of these jabs, he just doesn't respond to him. He completely ignores JBL, like he's trying not to acknowledge it or anything like that. So, but yeah.
Good man.
He's a very good man. But, because there's a reference, I think that, it was during the Mickie James Becky Lynch match. He made a reference to when Becky Lynch unmasked Mickie James, it was a Scooby-Doo moment because that's a big Scooby-Doo thing that happens and everything like that. And JBL didn't get the reference, so he's like, "What are you referencing a cartoon for on WWE TV? It's fucking real life. This isn't cartoon shit." Like he was not happy about it. So. By the way, I should mention, JBL changed his fucking pick in the fucking turmoil match, like, fucking after every entrance. So I thought we could add him to the fucking list of people that change their fucking pick on a fucking whim, so.
The picker. The change picker, man.
We need him, Booker, and Jerry the Kid Lawler need to do a fucking live stream of a Royal Rumble match, so they'll fucking change their fucking pick after every fucking entrant type of thing. I guarantee you, Booker T and Jerry the Kid Lawler doing the turmoil match, I guarantee you they probably changed their picks more than JBL changed his picks, though. What do you think?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know what was going on. But I like that happens. The right after Payback, JBL's fucking... I wonder, who do you think changes the pick the most? Jerry Lawler, Booker T, or JBL?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That is a toughie. Booker T. I think Jerry's a close second.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he does it in NXT a lot, too. He also can't make up his mind on NXT, as you remember. Like, one person could be in a fucking tag team, and then when it's a singles match, it's like, you gotta go for you gotta do this on your own in the business. But then he'll be like, when it's a tag team match, it's like, I love this tag team wrestling right here. You gotta stick together. Like, he can't decide what he wants. Huh?
He fucking hates tag team wrestling.
No, that's Shawn Michaels.
Here it is.
Yeah. Hey, we got through one video without talking about him, so, and you brought it up, so, but yeah, anyhow, do you think Shawn would have booked that turmoil match, or no?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, by the way, someone in that fucking tag team turmoil match would have broken up if Shawn Michaels was booking in. Like,
you had to know it was gonna happen.
What tag team do you think would have broken up? Probably fucking... He probably would have Yeah. He probably would have broken up the champions while they're fucking champions. Like, American Alpha wins, and then Jason Jordan turns on Chad Gable. Like...
The second, too. To the second. that fucking hand goes down for a 3. His fucking foot is stomping his head in on top of him.
You know that. But anyhow, continuing with the breakdown of the Natalya Nikki Bella match. Nikki Bella keeps trying to do various reversals. Natalya does a sharpshooter, and Nikki Bella reverses it into the fearless lock. And Natalya's able to get to the ropes. Eventually, Nikki Bella mounts a comeback. She gets an axe handle off of the second turnbuckle. Natty hits a really good Alabama slam. And then eventually, the finish comes. Nikki Bella hits a really good springboard spin kick out of the corner. And then eventually the finish comes. They're both exchanging submission holds and all that type of stuff. And then they start fighting on the outside. And basically a double countout happens. They don't get back in the ring. During this, Natalya takes a cheap shot at Nikki. And she's about to leave, but then Nikki attacks her, and referees and stuff have to pull her back and all that type of stuff. So Nikki just stands tall anyways. So, if you're going to have her stand tall, why not have her win the fucking match, But
Can't do that. Gotta stand tall at the end after there's a double count.
And so I thought this match was good. I don't get why they did a fucking non-finish. I know it built very nicely to the Falls Count Anywhere match at SmackDown a few weeks later, but, if you're just going to do the fucking Falls Count Anywhere match and stuff, just do that here! Do the Falls Count Anywhere match here! This was after, too, this feud had been going on for, months. You fucking build it up at a PLE and you don't have it fucking have a finish?
Yeah, that's just...
Yeah.
And they kept it going, too.
Yeah, and then it just really didn't make any sense. Just do the Falls Count Anywhere match at the PLE, because they already did the one-on-one match where they did the same finish pretty much. So let's do the Falls Count Anywhere match at this fucking pay-per-view. It's not that hard.
For them, extremely hard.
Yeah, I guess so. But I still thought this was good enough. I gave it 3 stars. I thought they had decent chemistry with each other, but yeah, just the finish really sucked.
I give it 2.5 stars. The match was fine. It's just the double counter really brings it down for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's that lame double count out finish too, where they feel the fucking need to, because I hate it too. If you're gonna have Nikki Bella stand tall at the end anyway, just have her win the fucking match. What are you doing?
Exactly. And then she stands tall at the end. Why does she ever fucking win the match and stand tall?
I know.
Even if it's a roll-up, a cheap little roll-up, something to give, the babyface the victory, and then have her stand tall at the end.
Yeah.
Because she stood tall anyway.
I know, yeah. We've seen these finishes a lot recently with the retros, and it bled into NXT, current NXT. So it's whatever. We've done career retrospectives on both women, so we don't need to do it here. We'll just get this out of the way. I should have said this earlier. Pretty much everybody that we've done a career retrospective for. So, next, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton cut a promo. Bray Wyatt talks about how tonight they're going to go their separate ways. But he hopes that tonight, after their matches, the paths will cross again and all that type of stuff. So, good promo here by Bray Wyatt. Obviously, because of today, I like this promo more than I would have if I watched it, the day before and all that type of stuff. But it had a lot of meat in watching it here and all that type of stuff. What did you think of this?
It happened.
Yeah. Then we had Luke Harper versus Randy Orton. Again, this is a double tribute because we're paying tribute to Luke Harper as well, and he has a big performance on this show. And yeah, you forget, like I said before, the Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Wyatt family feud was actually fairly interesting. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt started feuding. Bray Wyatt started targeting Randy Orton, and eventually Randy Orton just decided that if he couldn't beat the Wyatt family, then he's going to join the Wyatt family. And they would tease a little bit that there wasn't, they would work together very well. They won the SmackDown Tag Team titles, but they would tease dissension with Luke Harper and Randy Orton. Luke Harper didn't really believe that Randy Orton's intentions were what he thought they were and all that type of stuff. So he started questioning Randy Orton, so they would have miscommunications in their matches and things like that. Eventually, it cost them the SmackDown tag team titles in a 4-way match, and eventually during this, Luke Harper inadvertently kicked Bray Wyatt in the face when he meant to kick Randy Orton in the face. And now when you know where that storyline go, Randy Orton totally did that shit on purpose. Come on, man.
Come on.
But, Bray Wyatt then decided on the go-home episode of the SmackDown before the Royal Rumble that they were going to fight each other, and one's going to stand and the other's going to fall. And Randy Orton won, and it led to Luke Harper being kicked out of the Wyatt family. And, because this happened, Luke Harper was out for revenge on Randy Orton because he took his family from him and all that type of stuff. It led to attacks by Luke Harper onto Randy Orton. And a big thing that wouldn't happen, though, was Luke Harper wouldn't hit Bray Wyatt because he thought of him as a father figure and all that type of stuff, both in kayfabe and in real life. Eventually on SmackDown, the go-home episode, he finally did beat him up and all that type of stuff, and it led to this match happening right here. So, I know I probably shouldn't have said both in real life and kayfabe by father figures. I probably hit a bit home right there. So, but we have the match. Luke Harper dominates a good portion of the beginning parts of the matchup. He attacks Randy Orton, throws him into the barricade. He bounces him headfirst off the steps, and he just destroys Randy Orton. Eventually, Orton, while he's punching Orton in the corner, he sends him out to the outside. Orton throws him into the barricade. He bounces him headfirst off the steps. He gets a back suplex onto the announcer's table, and Randy Orton just starts viciously assaulting Luke Harper. Eventually, Luke Harper makes a comeback, and he had some vicious moves on Randy Orton. Just really goes off on him. Hits a couple of super kicks, but Orton kicks out. He hits 2 suicide dives in a row onto Randy Orton. Orton hits the draping DDT on Harper. Harper gets hit with the superplex. Eventually, Harper gets one final stage of offense. He hits the super kick followed by a sit-out powerbomb, but Orton kicks out. And then eventually, Harper goes for the discus clothesline. Orton counters it into the RKO. And Randy Orton wins the match. What a great match right here. I gave this 4 stars. I think this was like a breakout performance for Luke Harper as a singles guy and all that type of stuff. He had broken up before anyways in the singles guy, but this was kind of like he's on his own type of thing. We thought at the time they were going to strap the rocket ship up to him and everything like that. And it made sense for Randy Orton to win just because he had just won the Royal Rumble and all that type of stuff. And it made sense for the storyline that we thought they were going to tell and all that type of stuff. So I was okay with Randy Orton winning and all that type of stuff. But overall, what did you think of this match? I thought it was great. I give it 4 stars.
I gave it 4 stars also too. This match was fantastic. Like you said, it was a coming out moment for Luke Harper. At this point, Luke Harper was the babyface and was getting really over.
Yeah.
He was this like little stretch here that he had as the babyface was really awesome. He did a couple of tag matches with Cena. Like it was really fucking good, and he was really getting over. He was also using, like, around this time, using Bray Wyatt's powers, too.
Yeah.
Where he would, like, turn the lights out and come back on, he'd be in the ring. I was like, this is fucking cool. I loved it. But yeah, this match was fantastic. Like, they had so much fucking chemistry in the ring together, and it showed. There's so much trust there. Just awesome. This match is fucking great. I give it 4 stars.
Yeah, and again, I'll just say we thought it was going to lead to the triple threat match at WrestleMania between Harper, Randy Orton, and Bray. It didn't happen that way. We know why it didn't happen that way. Again, I don't want to focus too much on that just because of what today is being recorded because is the day after Bray's passing. So rather just pay tribute, but like we'll just say this stretch here was just awesome for Luke Harper that, Yeah, he doesn't get the Mania moment, but at least he gets to have this great babyface one. Again, we're gonna stay positive when it comes to that this time around. So,
Just hit the positives.
but yeah, it was just really great stuff. And then Nikki Bella was backstage. She gets interviewed and she just talks about how she doesn't understand what Natalya's doing and all that type of stuff. It leads to Natalya attacking her from behind. They have a brawl, and during this, Natalya throws powder into Nikki Bella's face. And because of this, she ends up inadvertently shoving Maurice, who just happened to be backstage at that time. And eventually, the officials come to break this up, and obviously this led to the Falls Count Anywhere match, and this also was setting up the seeds up for that mixed tag match between John Cena and Nikki Bella versus the Miz and Maurice. That doesn't mean shit now because they didn't get married out after that. So what a waste. But and I'm not just saying this now, by the way. I thought at the fucking time this storyline was a fucking waste. By the way, I think John and I talked about how we hated this and all that type of stuff. I think we thought the Miz thing was funny because it was when he gets into it and all that type of stuff. But then it was just a waste because like they basically just threw away a big match Cena could have had at Mania, so that way this could happen. Like it was just such a waste. But yeah, what did you think of this backstage segment overall and everything like that?
Could care less.
There you go. Then we had the SmackDown Women's Championship match. It was Alexa Bliss defending against Naomi. Naomi had just come back. I think did she have an injury or was she just gone? I forget because I remember she's gone for a while in 2016, but I don't remember exactly like the reasons that she was gone. I think she just had like a injury or something. I'm not exactly sure.
I think she was hurt. I forget.
Yeah, I remember she wasn't there at one point, but
yeah, she wasn't.
Yeah, and she came back and started this glow gimmick. And I personally didn't really like this gimmick. I just never understood it. Like,
yeah.
It really
Nicholson.
Okay, but yeah, I just don't. I didn't get what this gimmick personally. Like, she just came back and she was this way, and there's no explanation for it. She just was. And
she just glow.
Yeah. And it's weird that it became someone's gimmick, by the way. Like, you come out in your glow, like, Jericho did this already, by the way. He fucking did this. Like, he did it with the jacket. So what was different than what she was doing than what Jericho was fucking doing? I don't get it.
Glow. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think it was a big thing in, like, 2016, but, I wasn't exactly looking at fucking glow shit at that time, so I don't know. But she beat Alexa Bliss a couple of times in tag matches and things like that, so it warranted her a SmackDown Women's title match. And that's kind of why we have this match. It's the lazy thing that the WWE always did at the time, where the way they built the feud was to just have the person beat the champion. They loved doing that as just so they can have a title match. And
it wasn't like over a few months. It was like over a span of like weeks.
Yeah. And yeah, we had the match. And we were thinking, okay, this clearly has to be like Alexa's retaining. Naomi was going to win by DQ or something because WrestleMania was going to be in Orlando, Naomi's hometown. They're going to wait and save the big title win for that show. Well, that's not the case. I really don't know what to break down for this match because it's a bunch of nothing that really happens. It's okay, but it's nothing really.
Naomi wins.
Yeah. Like out of nowhere too. Like it wasn't even a finisher that she even won with or anything like that.
I think she beat her with like a fucking like split roll up or something like that.
Yeah, and then Naomi wins the belts, and it's like this big moment. Everyone's into it and all that type of stuff, and she talks about, how she's happy to be the champion, 7 years of hard work and all that type of stuff. And I remember we were saying this, like, wait, they fucking rushed this shit. Like, you couldn't have done this at WrestleMania? Like, the people, imagine how over this would have been if this happened at WrestleMania. Like, a lot of people would have lost their minds over it and all that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah, because their thinking was, hometown person walks into WrestleMania as champion. That was their thought process.
But it doesn't really. If you're already champion, it doesn't have like when you retain the belt. And unfortunately, what happens is she ends up getting injured in this match, so she has to vacate the title, and then she's able to make it like just in time for WrestleMania, so she just wins the belt at Mania. And so luckily they were able to kind of get away with it a little bit, I guess. But like, I was just thinking like, your first championship win should be at WrestleMania in your hometown. Like, that was the perfect moment to do that. Like, why did you blow your odds so early and all that type of stuff? And this happened a lot, by the way. Like, we talked about this in the Payback Retro. Like, they gave Bayley her first title win on a fucking random episode of Raw instead of at WrestleMania, where they should have given it to her and all that type of stuff. Like, it was just like, what are you doing here type of thing. Like,
it didn't. It was weird.
Yeah, and this match really just didn't click. It was in a bad spot on the card, too, because it was right after that great Luke Harper-Randy Orton match right before the Chamber match. And, this match just really was unnecessary to happen on the show. It just felt like they wanted to do a women's title match. So they just, kind of threw this together. I think the only reason they fucking do the title change is so that way they could have some sort of significance happen and all that type of stuff. But I give the match like 2 3/4 stars. It really wasn't anything special.
I give it 2. It's nothing special. Nothing happened besides Naomi winning. And she didn't even, walk into WrestleMania as champion as they intended to. For her to walk in as champion, except for she did get the eventual victory in Orlando.
And then
just didn't make any. It's just like looking back on it now, it's just why, why not just ever win it for the big moment?
Yeah.
She got the big moment at WrestleMania, but that shouldn't have been her second title reign. It should have been her first.
Yeah, and if you remember too, by the way, the reason they have to take the title off was because Daniel Bryan was just like, yeah, you can't defend your belt for 30 days and all that type of stuff. Like, wait a minute here. You just had a fucking champion not that long ago. He was a part-time champion pretty much. And then you're about to have a part-time champion right after that anyways. Like, they tried bringing up that 30-day rule shit. Like, that had long been gone since that happened.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't get what happened. But then we have the match that we're here for. It's the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE World Championship. It's WWE World Champion John Cena defending against AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, The Miz, Bray Wyatt, and Baron Corbin. Basically, this was all of SmackDown's big stars they were really showcasing at the time in big ways and all that type of stuff since the brand split took effect. So it was pretty cool. They just threw them all in this one match. You could say it affected the show a little bit because they had all this talent in this match that they couldn't use on the undercard and all that type of stuff. But that's what happens with the Elimination Chamber sometimes. But we have,
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the reasoning for this was John Cena had beaten AJ Styles for the WWE World Championship at the Rumble. He got a 16th world title, which ties the record with Ric Flair. And you saw those air quotes, so don't you fucking dare argue without that.
Oh, no, he's tied at 16.
No, you fucking dare,
more.
you know.
No more. No more than that. No more imaginary 21 that doesn't exist. It's 16.
I feel like I hear some BS there type of thing. So
no, it's 16. That's the official record is 16.
Yeah. So we had the this match here though. Shane McMahon said that the WWE champion has to get through the Elimination Chamber because that's a big thing at WrestleMania. That's the last real roadblock going into Mania and all that type of stuff. He threw this Chamber match together. Everybody in this match had some type of history. Dean Ambrose and The Miz were feuding over the Intercontinental title because Ambrose beat him for it. Bray Wyatt had a history with John Cena and was really making a rise and all that type of stuff.
He had a history with pretty much everyone in this match.
Yeah, Ambrose and Styles had a history from the WWE World Championship feud. And yeah, just pretty much everyone. The only one I'll admit out was really Corbin, but he was also being like really good showcased. And they were starting like a few. Corbin got like a big 4-way win on SmackDown before this with beating Ambrose, The Miz, and Dean Styles. So that's cool. So we had the chamber match, and it had been reported that we were going to get a new elimination chamber. We didn't. I'm pretty sure this was the same year. We got a new chamber, right? And we also got. No, yeah, we got a new Hell in a Cell this year, right? Or was it? Was that?
No, the red one was later on.
Okay, so I remember those two are like back to back. But we got a new elimination chamber. Yeah, you're right. Because I remember the cell match was Usos versus New Day. So and there was no red cell. So yeah, it was the next year. I
think it might have been Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins. Was that the first one for the red one?
No, the first one for the red one was Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because the Roman Strowman was the main event, and that was the year before the Fiend versus Seth Rollins.
So it was 20.
Yeah,
because that's the one where Brock kicked the door down.
Yeah.
And they said, "What? It's over."
Yeah, so
that's not what happens in a Hell in a Cell match.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that someday. I'm glad you. I was worried you're gonna inadvertently pick Hell in a Cell 2019, thinking that's where Bray won the Universal Championship, and it would have had to been a negative retro there. So good thing. I would have put a stop to that though. So, but anyhow,
positives only, baby.
Yeah. This was the new Elimination Chamber. This is the one that they have now. So I remember when we saw this match, we didn't love it all that much because the fact of the new chamber, because we didn't love the new chamber at the time. They were trying to say how badly this chamber hurts and everything like that, and the chamber like floor was all just pads. It
hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts to land on padding and not steel, or actual glass and not plexiglass.
JBL even mentioned at one point people have like walked on that thing, and it's hurt them and all that type of stuff. It's like, well, it's pads though, like, but
not the actual steel that they had to walk across before that actually hurt them.
Yeah, but looking back in hindsight, now that we've seen this chamber for a few years and all that type of stuff, the chamber probably did need to be changed. Now that we know, like, a lot of people's careers were ended off of the old chamber and all that type of stuff.
It hurt badly.
Yeah. And I do think you could do more in this chamber than you could in the old chamber. Like, obviously,
well, you could do more spots. You could be a lot more safe. The top of the chambers now was like squared off to where you could have like 3 or 4 people standing on it, whereas like the old one, you couldn't even stand on it. It was like your legs go right through it.
Yeah. So in hindsight, like, I think the change was needed. It's a safer chamber. I think at the time we predicted they probably did this too, because this was when John Cena was starting to make it big in Hollywood, so they didn't want him getting fucking hurt in the old chamber, because that would have happened. But then they just ended up keeping the chamber, and I thought it was well needed. The match starts. John Cena and AJ Styles start the chamber, so they weren't trying to protect Cena's Hollywood career too much, because he fucking starts the chamber match. So it's not like he's fucking. It's like, you want to make it in Hollywood, pal? You're fucking starting the chamber, buddy.
Number one, motherfucker. You want to leave us? Starting, motherfucker.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking put that end of that Hollywood career. If you do remember too, I think Vince was punishing Cena at this time, because he was losing a lot of matches clean at this time. If you remember too, like, it was kind of weird, like.
Maybe his choice. I don't know. Sometimes I think that he was very gracious, and other times I was like, that's Vince doing that.
Yeah, like
especially when he was like Super Cena, I'm like, okay, that's Vince. But like now, as we've gone along, it's like a lot of the stuff that he got shit for, it wasn't even him.
Yeah,
it was Vince forcing it.
Yeah, but anyhow, yeah, Cena and Styles start the chamber off. I thought that made a lot of sense, because they had like the feud of the year with the matches at Money in the Bank 2016, SummerSlam 2016, and the Rumble.
He kicked out of the fucking. He was the first one to kick out of the Attitude Adjustment from the second rope.
No, Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens, yeah. Now that you said that, yeah.
Cena and Styles go at it. They kind of just do their spots because obviously they only have a short amount of time to do their stuff. So Styles does the torture rack slam. Cena does his 5 moves of doom, and then Styles hits a Ushikuroshi onto him. So it's kind of like, let's just try to get all the stuff in as fast as we can before the next guy comes in. But it was fine. And then the next guy is Dean Ambrose, which was cool because it was basically a rematch from the Triple Threat match at No Mercy. Ambrose comes in. It was the main event, by the way. It was the first match on the show, so that's cool. He beats up Styles and Cena. He throws Styles into the chain link fencing, and then he throws Cena in there as well. Ambrose just destroys both guys. He hits a X-Plex onto AJ Styles onto the outside. Eventually, he tries to go for a German suplex, and Cena runs in, and he hits a German suplex of his own onto both guys, and everybody just kind of starts hitting moves on each other. And then eventually, Cena hits a clothesline, Styles hits an enziguri, and Ambrose hits the rebound clothesline, and everybody's down at this point. And the third guy comes in, and it's Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt just destroys everybody. He throws Ambrose into the chain link fencing. He DDTs Styles onto it. And eventually, Styles hits a snap suplex onto Bray Wyatt. And they have a really great 4-way. At this bit, Cena and Styles climb the chamber. And Styles sends Cena crashing down onto the chamber, and he lands onto the floor. And we don't see Cena for a while at this point. And Styles is about to go off, but Ambrose climbs up there, and they fight for a little bit. And eventually, Styles is able to knock him off, and Styles hits a dive onto Wyatt and Ambrose. And then the next entrance, Baron Corbin, and he just destroys everybody in this match. He, hits a deep 6 on Ambrose. He throws Wyatt and, Ambrose into the chain link fence. And there's a spot I forgot to mention, too. Wyatt just tosses Styles when he's going for, like, some type of high move on the outside and just tosses him into the chamber. And he does the same thing to Ambrose. Corbin does the same thing to Wyatt and Ambrose here. He hits, end of days on Ambrose, and he hits one on Styles and Cena. He hits end of days, and then Cena comes in and turns it into an SCF, which was cool. And then it's time for The Miz to come in, and The Miz is obviously too afraid to come in because Corbin's still fresh at this point, and he doesn't want to, take the risk and face Corbin. But The Miz lured him into a trap here because Corbin's getting ready to fight The Miz, and Ambrose sneaks in and hits a roll-up on Corbin, and Corbin gets eliminated. So Corbin gets pissed about this, and he just destroys Dean Ambrose. He throws him into chain link fence, and he throws him through the pod, and then he lays him out with the end of days, and he leaves, and Miz sneaks in, and he gets a pin on Ambrose and eliminates Ambrose. So I liked this because it set up very nicely to Ambrose versus Corbin at WrestleMania, because that ended up being the Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania, which was randomly moved to the kickoff for no reason. So there you go. The Miz starts going off. He hits the world famous Ick kicks onto Wyatt and Cena. He hits an axe handle smash onto Styles. He throws Styles into the pod. He hits a DDT on the outside, and then he goes for an axe handle smash off of the pod. But Cena catches him, and he lays out Miz with an AA, and he pins the Miz and eliminates him. And then it's down to a triple threat war between Wyatt, Cena, and Styles. And Styles and Wyatt work together to take out Cena. But then eventually Styles starts, he spends too much time taunted and everything, and Wyatt just takes his head off with a clothesline. And then yeah, Wyatt continues the attack. He hits a really good fisherman suplex on Cena, and then Cena mounts a comeback. He hits two protoplexes onto Styles and Wyatt. He hits the 10 knuckle shuffle on both guys. You're probably thinking, what's the 10 knuckle shuffle? Well, that's just a
He's double jerking.
No, that's the double 5 knuckle shuffle. So get your head out of the gutter there, buddy. And then Cena is about to Cena hits an AA on Wyatt, and Wyatt kicked out of it, which I think surprised everybody. And then he goes for one on Styles. Styles turns it into Styles Clash, but Cena kicks out. At one point, Cena hits a crossbody from atop of one of the pods, which was cool. I want to make sure I mention that. And then Cena hits an AA on Styles. Styles kicks out, and then Cena goes for one final AA on Wyatt. Wyatt turns it into a Sister Abigail, and he actually eliminates John Cena. So at this point, we were guaranteed a new champion. It was down to Wyatt versus Styles. And at this point, you probably should have known Wyatt was going to win the championship, because they would have had him eliminate Cena if he wasn't going to win the belt. But there was a little bit of unpredictability here, just because we didn't exactly know what direction they were going to go, because they easily could have just put the belt back on AJ Styles and stuff like that. So this was a little bit unpredictable. Styles and Wyatt go at it, and it's crazy to think this is the only time Styles and Wyatt have really wrestled in a one-on-one capacity for this amount of time. I don't think they've really had many matches.
Never they crossed paths.
So this is kind of the only time they really have, and really will, unfortunately. They go back and forth. Wyatt does the exorcism walk. Again, I think you've ranted about this, but we're going to stay positive here before. We're going to stay positive about it, because we're not going to see it much now anymore. So, I feel so weird having to bring that up, but it's just so true. Styles fights back. He hits the springboard 450 on Wyatt, but Wyatt kicks out. And then he goes for the phenomenal forearm, and Wyatt turns it into a Sister Abigail. And Wyatt pins Styles, and he becomes the new WWE champion. Afterwards, as Wyatt celebrated, Randy Orton standing on the stage, because now it's pretty much inevitable at this point, where it has to be Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton for the belt at Mania. And pretty much at this point now, they can't get out of it, type of thing. They're in a faction together, so it was kind of unique in that sense and all that type of stuff. But I thought this was a great chamber match. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. I thought it was great stuff. I thought everybody, got to do something in this match, and it was really well worked and well structured. And the person who won ended up being the right decision. I will say this, because we talked about this. There was really John Cena's 16th world title win was really a waste, because he doesn't even have the belt all that long, and it just really didn't even make any sense, type of thing. But it is what it is. Bray Wyatt got a world title win. We'll talk about that more in detail. But yeah, your thoughts on this match and everything like that.
4 3/4, great match. Just phenomenal chamber. It really was kind of shocking to see that John wasn't even part of the finish.
Yeah.
So it kind of adds that little awesome intrigue at the end, whether it's going to be Styles or whether it's going to be Bray Wyatt winning the match. It definitely added more intrigue to the finish. Corbin being in it really was kind of odd, but kind of fit at the same time. But yeah, it's a great chamber match.
And yeah, Bray Wyatt got a world title. We never thought it was going to happen, just because of the way he was booked and everything like that. But it was awesome when he finally won the WWE World Championship. And, he went on a really great run there. He had the triple threat match following this with Styles and Cena that ruled, and he got the win there. I think he pinned Cena in that match also. So, they were really rebuilding Bray Wyatt again at this time. And then, just watch Payback 2017 if you want to know what ended up happening, type of thing. But I'm happy he finally got like a world title under this gimmick and everything like that. That he worked really hard. Like we've talked about this before. Like Bray Wyatt. What's his real name? Well, Barry. What Rotunda, is that it? Like
Wyndham Rotunda.
Wyndham Rotunda had worked very hard. Like it was somebody that like got told like by Vince and everything like that he wasn't gonna really amount to all that much in the business, and he realized he wasn't gonna get anywhere with his physique, and as great of a wrestler as he was, he realized he had to do something different, and his creative mind just really saved him in this business and all that type of stuff. And every feud that he was in, he tried to really make something special out of it. Like he's got one of the best creative minds in the business, and I think when we think back about like Bray Wyatt when it comes to his career and everything like that, we're gonna think he's probably like one of the greatest characters that's ever been in the business, and someone that's continuously been able to evolve his character and everything like that. Like the great talent that he was and the great creative mind that he was, he made a character that like basically talked about all of the weaknesses of this character that he had here, type of thing. Like that's just how great of a character that he was. And we talk about the bad booking, but like Bray Wyatt,
He was booked really strong for the majority of his career.
Not even just that, but you could say like as bad it was to say he's booking, always a company man, willing to, even if he knows it's gonna hurt his character, he was. As much as he hated doing it, he went out there and, he tried to make the most out of what he had and everything like that. Like, he was given a lot of shit that he had to fucking put up with. And the fucking fact that, like, he tried to make the most out of what he had. Like, I don't think anybody else would have, nobody else in his position would have done what was asked of him, type of thing. So, anything you want to say about Wyndham Rotunda and Bray Wyatt when it comes to his WWE career and everything like that?
We got a conclusion to the cult leader Bray Wyatt. We got a conclusion to the Fiend. We didn't get a conclusion to this current current iteration of Bray Wyatt, because he sadly had passed away before we knew what this was. Whether it was a combination of Wyndham, the Fiend, or whatever, like all of his gimmicks combined into one. We never really got what made the character so great. We never really got a fleshed out reason why this gimmick was happening, and we never will. And that's kind of sad in a lot of ways. But overall, he was great. He's one of the greatest creative minds in this business. Behind the scenes, he was the nicest human being alive. Everyone loved him. Who worked with him, who talked with him, who's even for a few seconds in the hallway. Like anyone who was in WWE loved him. And his loss it's gonna sting, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be painful, and it's gonna be sad.
Yeah.
And it always will. It stings like when Brody passed. It's the same type of hurt. Unexpected, sudden. And it just, both of them at a very young age. Both of them are very young families. Can't help but feel for the kids. Like they're so young.
Yeah.
I think his oldest two daughters are approaching their preteens now, or they're teenagers now. But it's hard for them, especially now that they're growing up without their father. Now that's just like it's hard for them. It's sad for us because like one of the most talented people in the business.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah,
and you got to see it fleshed out week in and week out, and now we can remember him for the good times.
Yeah,
you got the WWE Championship. If you want to see more of Bray Wyatt, there is a Peacock. There's a thing on Peacock, but for him, they put up a tribute for him.
Oh, we'll have to maybe we'll review that on Aftershock when I come back.
I forget. I think it's like the best moments of Bray Wyatt or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I'm on Peacock right now.
I want like a documentary for him because I feel like he's owed that. Like,
Bray Wyatt's greatest moments,
yeah,
and it's under the best of Bray Wyatt tab. It's about halfway down on Peacock.
yeah. Yeah. Just like Wyndham Rotunda, like it's really tragic what happened and all that type of stuff. I think the thing that's sad about it is when it comes to since this is kind of a Brody tribute also, like both their families had to see kind of like them in like a weak state. Like the last image they'll probably remember their father type of thing is like going to be them like when they were like sick and all that type of stuff. And that's just really sad to think about type of thing.
And you got to feel for Amanda Huber, like in Braun Strowman, and they were. And Eric Rowan too. That was like a family there. They were extremely close.
Yeah.
They were like brothers, like legitimately. This picture's online of Braun Strowman holding of Bray's kids when they were his two youngest ones when they were born, and it's just like, I think there's a picture that Amanda put up of Bray holding. I think it's Brody, I think, or Nolan. I forget. It was one of the two. And there's a picture of I think it's Brody, like seeing Bray and Harper and Rowan on TV, and his face just lit up.
Yeah.
He was really young at the time, and it was the one during the Wyatt family era. And it's just, like I get you gotta. It's for her. She lost her husband. Now she lost someone who was about as close as family in Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Like it's been an awful couple of years for her. Just an awful, awful couple of years for her.
Yeah, definitely. Especially too, because as we've heard too, like mentally too, like Bray Wyatt and stuff, because he didn't really handle like Luke Harper's death, and like he got released and all that type of stuff. It's just kind of sad. Like I will say this: I'm glad that his career, like at least his life, gets ended like at a happy ending. Like while the conclusion of the gimmick that he had didn't get to see pass, we're always gonna have the moment where he got the big comeback and the show built around him when he came back and all that type of stuff. Like he was always gonna have that moment.
We'll always have that epic entrance, that huge pop that he got. The tribute to Brody in the entrance.
Yeah.
It's just we'll always have that, and it's the last real great thing in his career. I mean, the LA Night feud didn't go as planned. We all could have wished it would have been better, but that's the last person LA Knight ever. That's the last person Bray Wyatt ever faced as LA Knight.
Yeah.
And we'll always have that epic entrance on his return. And that's the one thing that, like, the last great thing, like, for Bray Wyatt. Like, if you look back on, if you see it now, it's like, man, he really got, in a way, a send-off in, like, the greatest way possible, with an entire audience popping like none other for him.
Yeah.
His entrance, and that entrance on SmackDown too. The following SmackDown.
And he got to cut that. Yeah, and he got to cut that emotional, like, yeah, we didn't get to see what this character got to be, but in a sense, he got closure in the business because he got to come back and he got to cut that great promo on, like, we got to kind of see, like, the real Wyndham Rotunda for, like, a period of time in WWE. Like,
one of his friends, too, who works in WWE, I think it was Rob Free, said that promo that he cut was very real.
Yeah.
Wyndham was very nervous and very scared about how that promo was going to go. So for it to come out as critically acclaimed as it was, and it was so real at the same time as being in character, like, you really towed the line really great.
Yeah.
Between, like, real and fiction. And it was just, it was amazing. And he's gone at 36, far too young, far too young. But we can always look back and watch his matches and remember him for being one of the greatest creative minds in the business, an amazing person. Like, it's just all this shit like that you hear and that you've been seeing on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck, over the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah,
Is really moving. It's really touching. All over social media, the wrestling universe has really got together, like how it was when Brody had passed. It's like kind of like bringing it back together, and it's an amazing thing to see because he touched so many people's lives. I don't think he even realized it in death. Like, he made so many fucking friends in this business that genuinely loved him, and he was just an absolute sweetheart. And it's just a really terrible tragedy.
Yeah.
And it's really shocking that he's even talking about it right now. It doesn't even feel real still.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we talked about this, like, when Triple H made that post on X, I was thinking, like, it was going to be like he was resigning and all that type of stuff. And as much as we don't want that to happen, I would have preferred that over Bray Wyatt passing away, obviously.
Or someone broke a record or something, like a Make-A-Wish thing or something, like, because they always tweet about that, or like the Special Olympics or something like that.
Yeah,
it's and just see that, I was like, when I saw it posted on NoDQ on the Facebook page of NoDQ, I was like, this is not real. Like, this is definitely not real.
Yeah.
And then I went to Twitter and it was very real, and it was like I literally couldn't even believe it.
It sucked. Yeah, it sucked too because I was out in public and everything like that, and I had to fucking put my phone away. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna be fucking glued to my fucking phone now if I, now that I fucking know this type of thing. So, a lot, like you said, a lot of people reached out and everything like that. I think the thing we should end it off of is like we said, the careers that Bray Wyatt's helped out / Wyndham Rotunda, like Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman. Who knows what would have happened if it wasn't for Wyndham Rotunda? LA Knight. Who knows if LA Knight gets this popular without that Bray Wyatt feud? Like, that's a big reason he got so popular. Like, and then like, I know he had to. He probably would have gotten popular, but I think that Bray Wyatt feud like sped up his popularity and all that type of stuff. Like, without that feud, who knows? The Shield, he got to have he helped their careers out and all that type of stuff.
Six-man tag. Someone brought this up today. Like, that 6-man tag between the Shield and the Wyatts was outstanding.
Yeah,
one of the best tags of all time.
I know. And yeah, he just very unselfish. Again, I would say he's unselfish to a point where, like, but he always willing to help out whether he wants to or not, type of thing. So again,
he's almost unselfish he was almost unselfish to his detriment almost.
Yeah.
Sometimes he need to be a little bit selfish.
Yeah.
That's just he was.
Yeah. He was one of the reasons we still remember WrestleMania 36 to this day. Like, without that cinematic match at WrestleMania, in a sense, if John Cena, that's basically John Cena's ending pretty much in WWE pretty much because Cena hasn't been back all that much really since then. That was kind
full
of
time.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much the end for him full time.
Yeah. So, so it's just insane. Like, again, this really had, like we talked about it. It's shaking up wrestling. Like, it shook up this show because we were supposed to do a different retro. It's shaking up the shows to the point where, like,
the action, though, like Friday Night SmackDown
tonight
is not going to be a thing tonight.
Yeah, which I think is I think it's the right call. I would like to see something where like a tournament gets built around them, like how they had the Dusty tag. I'd like to see like the Wyndham tournament type of thing, like to pay tribute to him type of thing. Because I think that'd be awesome. And yeah, I just kind of can't wait. And it's just really sad because we've lost two great figures in wrestling this week. Terry Funk, the day before, I think, right?
Literally Wednesday.
Yeah. And then last night at the time of recording, we lost, Wyndham Rotunda. And, I just hope, everything, works out and all that type of stuff. And yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see, what the company looks like and stuff, and how everyone reacts to it and all that type of stuff. So
And from there, all the proceeds too from Bray Wyatt's merch or from WWE shop are going to JoJo in the Rotundo family. So
yeah, that's good. There was a Talking Smack, but we're gonna call an audible here. Just go watch it because I don't want to talk about that after we just spent a little bit talking about Bray Wyatt. I feel like it'd be kind of weird if we did that type of thing. But overall, we probably should have done the fucking letter grade first. But originally, I was gonna give this show probably a C. It's okay, but it's probably just because of the timing that we're doing this and all that type of stuff. I'm giving this show a B-, mainly just because of the tribute to Bray Wyatt. It's still relatively an okay show anyways. The chamber matches rules, Harper versus Randy Orton's great. The opener's good, but it's a B-. I'm doing it for Bray pretty much. If I was doing it any other time, it would probably be a C, but because of the significance of when we're recording this, I'm giving it a B-.
I'm gonna give it a B. The Bray Wyatt winning his first WWE title and that awesome chamber match was great. Harper and Randy Orton was fantastic. And I think even at the time, Meltzer or whatever gave it a 4-star rating too, I believe. That it's every match was fine, other than obviously the two great ones, but every other match was fine in the show. It probably would have been a C+ for me had we done this under different circumstances and not done it as a tribute to Bray Wyatt. Just because it's a 2-match show, basically. It's not a perfect show. It's an okay show, but the fact that we're doing this as a tribute to Bray Wyatt, and the fact that it's a positive retro for Bray Wyatt winning his first WWE championship. It's a big moment for him in his career. And yeah, it's just it's the proper thing to do.
Yeah.
I would feel very down if I give this anything less than a B-.
Again, I think I would have felt down too if the last retro. I feel too if we did. It's just the time when we did Payback 2017 too. I didn't want that coming out after he passed and everything like that. So that's why I wanted to. I think that's why you had to be yeah, let's do a better retro for the to pay tribute to Bray Wyatt. This I think is the perfect retro and everything like that. So yeah. I know for a fact this isn't going to be the last time we talk about Bray Wyatt, but
definitely than this.
Yeah.
Positive ones in the future.
Yeah.
But this is for him.
Yeah.
Because eventually we're going to have to do the Hell in a Cell match between him and Seth, and that's not going to be
anytime soon now.
As good. So
yeah,
that's for way far in the future when the dust is settled and feels right that we can give a match a down rating and whatnot.
Unless someone picks it as a retro tomorrow or something. No one, people.
I'm really like that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah. But yeah. I think this is the first though where we basically did a retro because to pay tribute to somebody. I don't think we've ever done that before. That's just insane how that happened. I think that shows you right there, like how much of a legacy he left on this business. That we decided, hey, we're doing a retro for.
It
Bray
was
Wyatt.
scrapping up we had that was pretty fucking awful. And we wanted to, brighten it up a little bit today.
I mean, I don't think, because we really haven't talked about this, and then we'll do plugs. Like, we pretty much saw Wyndham Rotunda too, like, grow up in this business pretty much, because he got there like late 20s, maybe like early 20s ish, because we saw him. If you watched FCW, you would have seen him there, but then you saw him in NXT.
In 2012, I think, or 13. I think it was 13.
Yeah, and
it was before the network. Was he pre-network or was he post-network?
So he was there, if you remember, in game show version, and then he was there as Bray Wyatt as he was in FCW first as Bray Wyatt, and then he was there, in NXT, and then we just basically seen him grow up in front of our eyes and seen all these changes and stuff that's been made and things like that. So it's just sad, but I think that's why like we would have done one for Terry Funk if we had the time and all that type of stuff. But I think Bray Wyatt left a big more of an impression just because we've seen him basically grow up in front of our eyes and all that type of stuff. So
yeah, I mean the Funker. It's sad that he passed, but he wasn't in our generation.
Yeah,
we had to watch stuff of him in the past in order to really watch him, because I was born in 1994. His career was practically over by then.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to see him. I didn't watch ECW when I was fucking 4 years old. So
you wouldn't be able to.
I didn't see him in ECW. I didn't see him. Obviously, I wasn't even alive for most of his wrestling career. Almost all of it, actually. But it's definitely a sad thing. And both Bray, we grew up with him.
Yeah.
We watched him develop from, the very beginnings of his, from his very beginnings in FCW with Bo Dallas as a tag team, as the Wyndham Brothers. Saw them in FCW. He eventually becomes Bray Wyatt and goes on to bigger and better things in wrestling. It creates one of the most dynamic and best wrestling stables there ever was. And just for the fact that it launched 3 careers, launched all 3 of their careers.
Yep. We're forgetting one name too. Alexa Bliss's career was already launched, but Alexa Bliss benefited.
Right side to her.
Yeah.
Different character. Now it didn't end like how we wanted to, because it was very intriguing in the beginning. And then she turns on him at WrestleMania, which was stupid.
But that will be a retro someday.
But it showed a whole different side to it. It showed that Alexa can pull off this deranged psycho gimmick, and it worked really, really well. And it launched the career. Braun Strowman.
You did.
His best friend.
What? You said 3 careers then? Because I was thinking of Hopper.
The original 3.
Okay.
All 3 of their careers, but 4 now, including
Braun Strowman.
All 4 of them. It launched all 4 of their careers.
Yep.
2 of them became Universal Champion, Tag Team Champions.
Yep.
It's gonna that stable will go down as one of the best ever, and one of the most unique of all time.
Yeah.
Just for how it captivated an audience.
Yeah.
Completely captivated an audience.
I know. I mean, he's such a talent to a point. Even Vince, there was even points Vince couldn't even ignore it, type of thing. That's how over he was.
Yeah. Especially the Fiend gimmick too.
Yeah. So.
Or how over the Fiend gimmick was. You need to put it on TV every week.
Yeah. So. Again, I think we'll just end the video off there. I think that's officially the end of the Bray Wyatt tribute. Is there anything you want to plug or promote or anything like that?
Just I'll say this: go on WWE Shop, purchase anything. Like I said, it goes to JoJo and the family during this difficult time. I think there's a notice on Shop that shows it. Yeah, just to go there and support the family. It's really a touching thing that WWE is doing. It's really awesome. Yeah, that just goes to show you they didn't do this for anyone else but him.
Yeah.
Military Funk competed in the company. They're doing it because he means this much to the WWE family. Mike was in WWE, worked backstage, IRS. His father, Mike Rotunda, worked as an agent backstage for years and years and years and years and years. And it's just like it's a fitting tribute to him.
Yo.
And, go there, purchase stuff, help out the family. He would be surely missed. It sucks, but it's the fact of life. But it never gets easy when you've watched them.
Yeah.
When we've watched him, we watched Brody. Watched them for their whole fucking careers, and they've passed on, and
too soon too.
Exactly. Brody was about 41 years old, and Bray's 36. I saw a picture today of it was Brody in his exalted attire, and he was standing behind Bray Wyatt's rocking chair, like welcoming him into heaven. It was really it was really awesome. I wanted to share it in our chat, but I couldn't because it was locked. I couldn't share it.
Damn, I would have been. I assume I'll probably see it somewhere. So
it was on. I think it was like on Yep I Love Wrestling or something like that.
Okay.
That Yep I Love Wrestling. I guess I Love Wrestling site Facebook page.
Yeah. So, as for my stuff, just check out the channels for future retros incoming and all that type of stuff. And yeah, just support Bray Wyatt and the families and everything like that. And let's just hope everything ends up being okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And I'm not gonna say my catchphrase this time. I'll just say rest in peace, Bray Wyatt.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my